What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's time for episode 34 of Tigers Franchise. We are just coming out of the All-Star break. Let's catch up on what's been going on. It hasn't been that much time. Not going to do a huge draft review today. I think I'm still going to do an on-the-farm report, but that might come either late in the season or in the off-season, actually, because I'm really dialed in on where the team's at right now in the Major League race here, and I want to focus on that. But I'll show you who we drafted in those first couple rounds. But let's get into it. So we left off on June 24th. Finished off here in June with a series win against KC at home, but then went out to Seattle and dropped 3 out of 4 because that was a carryover series that bled into July. We won the first one 2-0, and then we lost 9-7, 2-1, and 5-0. Well, that was kind of a bummer. Then we decided to call Riley Green back up for the trip to Colorado. I just kind of wanted, he'd been down in minors for, let me see exactly how many games. Only 5 games. I was like, okay, but this is a fun time to bring him back. Let's see if he can, get jump started in Colorado. And so we lose the first game 4-1. I was like, oh, well, that stinks. But Riley Green went 2 for 4 with a homer. So, the plan behind getting him accelerated was pretty nice. It just didn't carry over to the whole team. But then we got 4-3 and 10-3 wins, including another big performance by Riley Green. He went 3 for 5 with a run and a ribby. And then in the 10-3 win, he had a casual 5 ribbies, 2 for 5 with a run scored, 5 ribbies, and his 8th homer of the year, plus a triple. So it ended up working there. We take the series. Good for us. Green is back. Then we hosted the Angels, took 2 out of 3 from them, and they're a first place club, 49 and 43. So rolling over them is not easy. They're a solid club. And in Tampa Bay, we lose 2 out of 3 going into the break, which was kind of a bummer because we had those 6 games at home. Would have been nice to get the 4 out of 6, not losing our minds over it. 8-3 loss, 8-3 win, 3-1 loss, 10-4 loss. So then we hit the All-Star break here, and we only had 2 All-Stars. And I got to say, I was a little bit surprised by that. But then I looked at it and I was like, well, maybe I don't really have a whole lot of reason to be surprised. Because if you think about it, our 2 superstars both got hurt this year, Green and Torkelson. We've had some other good pitchers, but maybe their ERAs are a little high, and I'm sure the game still kind of, looks at those sorts of stats just the way real life does. It doesn't really bother me that much, to favor the guy who might have like a 2.40 ERA over the guy who's got like a 3.60, but, maybe he's got better skills. I'm open to just putting in the top players. I will favor the established stud over some hotshot who has a good first half. I don't believe in the All-Star game being a first half reward. So anyway, it doesn't bother me at the end of the day. It's an exhibition. Who really cares? But for example, I don't have a great example here. I said for example, and then I undercut myself immediately. I don't have, what I'm saying is I don't have an example of somebody who shouldn't have made it here necessarily, and I'm not going to waste y'all's time looking through it. But in real life, somebody like Treat Skubal, who is now established and is a really good pitcher, his 3.60, 117, I would take over some guy with, first year, like I said, sub 3 ERA, just kind of popping off with mediocre skills, but he's running hot. I would take the more established guy. But again, does it really matter? No. So let's move on. But the 2 guys that we did have were Ronnie Enriquez, who himself is an ERA god, but he hasn't proven it. So I don't think it's a flash in the pan like what I'm talking about. He's down to a 197 this year. I think I'm on record saying that there's quote unquote no way he'll repeat the 285 ERA, but obviously we're going to keep him in as a starter. Well, in a way I was right, if you just ignore all context and meaning of what I said, which of course is that I meant it would go up. But yeah, he's just an anomaly with his ERAs, and we love it. No, nobody's upset about this, but it's just crazy how good Enriquez is. So he gets his 3rd All-Star bid, and then Evan Carter. And I gotta say, y'all, we took a gamble on him and just kind of trusted the growth profile that he had, because he did have some ways to go, and just the foundational eye, and said, let's just get this guy as a buy low, and it's working out beautifully. He put up a 106 WRC plus 2.5 WAR in the 85 games with us last year, and now this year he's got 3.2 WAR in 77 games, so in fewer games, with a 152 WRC plus. And with injuries to Torque and Green, he's really had to step up and be a big part of the upper tier of the lineup. In fact, he was leading off a bunch against righties and lefties for a while there. I think he's still leading off against righties, and then I moved him down against lefties upon Green's return. Green's also left-handed, but I just trust him more up there. But I mean, 335, 435, 486, what a slash line for Carter. If we could be greedy and maybe squeeze out another 5, let alone 10 power, 10 would obviously be a dream, but even 5 extra power, oof, that'd be really nice. But hey, we will take him as is. The downside has been the fragility, which he now has as his injury proneness. And so, it's a lot of kind of knick-knack injuries. Like, they're in between serious and knick-knack because it's a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there. We don't have the several month injury, but it's always a week or two, seemingly. I guess the 3-week strained rib cage was a bit of an extended one, but you got some 4-day ones here too. It's always kind of something with Evan Carter, and it's a little bit of a bummer, but it hasn't stopped him from crushing. However, we did see another thing when looking at the All-Star bids that if you're looking at the list, you might have noticed. Shosei Watanabe made it, and he was the second base starter for Houston, so I think it's worthy time to check in on that deal. He's having a great year. He bounced back for them when we traded him over there. 50 games of a 1.3 WAR with a 133 WRC plus. We knew that was in the cards, and he's continued 128 WRC plus and 2.1 WAR in 82 games. Now, he is out with a sore shoulder right now for 5 weeks, and this looks like it was a 6-week injury because it happened about 10 days ago, so 6-7 week injury. And so, again, am I really surprised that this is happening? No. But is it worth $32.5 million? I don't think so. I mean, if he winds up, let's say he paces out to his 3.8 WAR, and again, we do, kind of the standard, it depends where you're at, $8, $9, $10 million per win on the open market. I think right now we operate as like an 8.5, 9 in the 2023 real world, or now 2024. But in this universe, maybe it's gone up, and maybe you say it costs about 10 mil per win, then that's easy math. Then a 3.8 WAR season is essentially worth 38 mil, and then you would say, yes, it is worth it. In a dollars to WAR standpoint, I'm okay doing that and saying, okay, we're not underwater on this. But there's also the calculus of, is it worth it with regards to what I can get if I spread those resources out? Because believe it or not, you still want more bang for your buck than what you're paying. If he's just kind of meeting it, that's fine, right? A consistent 4-win player is a stud, although he's not consistent at shit. And that's part of the problem. That's why we traded him. So if he was delivering 3.5 to 4 or 5 WAR every year, okay, great. Pay him the 30-something mil. But he's been all over the place, and then we could probably spread 33 mil into 3, maybe 4 players, and even if they're just 2 to 3 WAR each, all of a sudden you're doing better there. So, I mean, even 1.5 to 3 WAR. So anyway, he's doing well. Maybe I'm just trying to cope. I'm always down to look at the other side and say, okay, maybe you're framing it negatively because you're mad that you made the trade. I'm definitely not mad about it, but I am, kind of seeing the downside of it, and that's why we traded him. It was always about the money. It wasn't that he'll never possibly come back. He couldn't be good whatsoever. It's more of like, is this what we want to pay for with the volatility that he brings? And it looks like, okay, so he did opt out, but he was under arbitration still, which I think we did realize because that's what it looked like on our salary sheet. I think that is a little weird that you can give a guy a contract opt-out, but then he just goes to ARB. So, I mean, I guess that could work for them to get more money, but they don't get to be free, which is obviously what they're aiming for. Anyway, I didn't plan for that detour there on Watanabe. I'm sorry about that. But he's doing pretty well despite the injury right now. And then that leads to what we got in return. Well, actually, let's see what Madden and Alcantara are doing too. Madden is doing well in AAA. He looks like a guy who can definitely come up, get you a couple weeks of starting as an injury fill-in, but I'm not sure he's ready to be a major part of a rotation. And Houston agrees because he's not in the rotation, but not bad in AAA, good depth. Then Kevin Alcantara, he is now gone from Houston. He's in Arizona, which was via waivers. Okay, so they waived him. Arizona took a shot, And that just happened. Quite literally just happened. Okay, so we have no idea how that's going to go. He'd had an 86 WRC plus and .1 WAR in 67 games with Houston. So you understand why they waive him. I mean, he is 25. Maybe you try to find a way, maybe not to, but maybe if it happened to us and we were saying, okay, we got to move on, I would have tried to trade him, get something. But right now, the age and the power are the only things that are like really that compelling about Kevin Alcantara. He's not done it at 25 yet. I will say that. Anyway, so we had our 2 All-Stars. Watanabe made, then Carrasco. I got sidetracked. I didn't even look at what we got back. Paul, get real. Anyway, so we got our boy Derek Carrasco, and I do have it on my checklist here that if I hadn't noticed Watanabe made the All-Star game, I would have gotten to the Watanabe review here because I wanted to bring up Carrasco because we got some unfortunate news in July. He got a pretty negative scouting report. The contact, power, and speed all went down on the current and potential. Well, there is no potential speed, but his speed went down, and then the current potential for contact and power went down. And he's back down to an 82 WRC plus, which, believe it or not, is actually better than he gave us in the regular season last year. He was a playoff hero in those last 2 series. He really, really took off for us, but he's a dud again. At least he's walking a little more. I guess no, I'm not giving it to him because y'all know I round. I'm not going to be like 10.7 versus 11.2. He's up 0.5%. Who gives a shit? That's nothing. So, yeah, kind of a bummer. But let's see how Stone's doing. Is he still sustaining this deal? He is. And so at least we got Stone as the second piece here because he's continued to be great. 3.74 ERA, 1.19 WHIP in 96 innings of work. We've gotten, about 2 wins out of him, pacing for a nice 4-win season. I love what we've gotten out of Gavin Stone. So we can definitely tolerate the fact that Carrasco just hasn't panned out for us. Even though, well, hang on, what's Watanabe's OBP? Okay, it's pretty good at 342. Because that was the main reason that we were looking to make the move too, is because even though Watanabe had a 60i, he just wasn't getting on base, and we wanted somebody who would, and at least Carrasco is doing that all right. A 327, that's not too bad. He's a little, if we just get the walks up a little bit higher, and 11% is a good rate, so I don't want to be too greedy, but if he was like more 13, 14%, then you get that nice 100-point split from the OBP, or from the average to the OBP. But we do need to move him down in the lineup. Excuse me. My voice was trash last episode, and now here it is trying to go haywire again. I'm definitely not experiencing the stuff from, going to the Detroit-Dallas game. Now this is just random frogginess. Sorry. Anyway, let's move on, get our checklist stuff done, and then let's get into the rest of July here and see what we're going to do. So we made a move because another injury struck. Right before the break, we lost Dylan Dingler for 5 to 6 weeks. It was on 7-11. A fractured thumb took him out. And, we've talked plenty about Dingler and our catcher situation. He has a 65 ability, 70 arm. That's what keeps him on the team. Anything we do get hitting-wise is a bonus. And we take it, but we don't expect too much. He had some contributions in the playoffs last year, but by the end of it, he was down to a 57 WRC plus. Like, he had started off pretty nicely, and I guess when he was going down, Carrasco was going up, so he kind of covered him there. Not that they're related, but just pointing out the different trails of 2 different guys in the playoffs, because early in the postseason, we were like, wow, Dingler's really contributing, and of course, Carrasco wasn't. So, obviously, we have Jin Sung, who we brought in this year, but we brought him in as a backup. He's a 55 ability, which obviously comes in light. I like 60 plus. I really like 65 plus, but he's a top 100 prospect. He's a quality hitter. He's not really showing it yet with just a 75 WRC plus, but I like him as a backup. Like, that's what I'm committed to with Jin Sung Show. And he can start against lefties because he does have a pretty big split. And so that's the best I can do, meaning we need a full-time starter against righties. So I went looking around. I did kind of tap some of the higher end again. And we maybe could have gotten somewhere with Jonah Heim. But as I looked at it, the price just kept getting high, and he's not even playing well right now. Like maybe if he was doing well and we had to pay the premium, he's a switch hitter, decent hitter, 70 ability, leader, high work ethic. But he's 32. He's making big money. He's got 25 mil on the books for next year as well. So even though they were going to eat some money, the price just kind of kept going up to kind of get it right where I wanted. Like we could have done something, but I think it would have been too much and not enough money would have been eaten. Again, for somebody who's not really delivering. If his bat was closer to, say, 85, 90 on the WRC plus, so even still below average, but right on that cusp with the amazing defense, then we could have been talking. But anyway, so I tried with Heim, and then I said, all right, I'm not going to go through all this again, trying to get Rutschman and Harry Ford top of the scale. Let's get somebody who can catch and maybe hit a little, right? Like we're replacing Dingler. We're not even sure what's going to happen with him when he comes back. But let's see if we can get somebody that maybe competes with him. And so I landed on Patrick Bailey. And what's interesting is I was talking to San Francisco about a deal for somebody else. Let me look up who it was. It wasn't Joey Bart, who is their starter. It was Ivan Herrera, who's not too bad. 55i, 60 ability. I mean, those are really the two categories that I care about. 50 power, 50 avoid K, right? So not too bad. Off to an amazing start hitting-wise this year with a 404 BABIP in his 83 plate appearances. That really wasn't moving the needle too much for me, but I like to see it. Rather get a guy who's performing well than not, if you can. So there was some interest here, and the price wasn't too high, and I said, you know what, let me check in on Patrick Bailey, because they've obviously, demoted him, or they're running 3 catchers because he's not here in San Francisco. And so that's how I got to Patrick Bailey. I decided to look him up, and I saw that Miami had him, and I figured, okay, I want to see what's going on there. He'd only played 6 games for them, so he was just recently called up. 0.2 WAR. I mean, he had made a fast impact. 22 plate appearances. Who cares? But he was hit the ground running. But he's got high adaptability and work ethic, low financial ambition, 60 ability, and even at 28, like a little mark of upside with a 55i potential. He's got 50 right now, 60 gap. Got some gaps in Detroit that he could leverage. Not bad, right? Like it's just okay to kind of fill in, and I didn't think the price would be high, and I was correct. So we ended up doing just a straight up 1-for-1 deal here with Bailey for Christian Santana, who was a AA player. First, second, short, not a good shortstop at all with 45 range, meaning not even a great second baseman. So really kind of a first baseman with a modest hitting profile. I was surprised when I was looking at even the Herrera deal, like teams kept targeting Santana. Like, I don't really get it. Maybe it's the performance. He's been good pretty much throughout, including the last 2 years here in AA. And maybe a team sees that and they're moved by it for some reason. But I'm looking at the ratings and I just don't see it. And, if the defense was there, but maybe the hitting was light. And so I thought that the WRC plus totals were a little, fraudulent, maybe weren't going to stand up. Okay. But there's no defense to fall back on. So I just really wasn't that interested in keeping the 23-year-old. It's 23-year-old with a modicum of skill. I understand why a team would be interested in him for their minors, but not as aggressively as they were, because I kind of thought we won this one on the Bailey 1-for-1. But I also value catchers and catcher defense quite a bit. There was a chance to go back to a well that I'm very familiar with in my Twitch OOTP history, more so than YouTube, and that was to hit up Colorado and look at Drew Romo. And there was a gettable deal out there, but his bat, y'all, is so dreadful. And I know, any of my Twitch viewers that are here, I know in October he would have popped off for Oct Romo. He had a crazy history. We've talked about a bunch on this channel and in my Twitch channel about how backup catchers just go crazy in the playoffs, and low tier players in general, because it's a small sample. I mean, it does happen in real life, so I'm not even dogging the game for it. It's just one of those things that's like, when it happens for you, it's the greatest, and you build a fun narrative around a lower tier player, and you go with it. When it happens against you, you want to flip your table and just stop playing, because you're like, why does Tomas Nido have 2 grand slams against me in a short series? Not that that's ever happened to me. Okay, it has. But anyway, Drew Romo, we love him. He's one of the best catcher ability guys in the entire game, but just a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful hitter with no real upside. I like the leadership and the work ethic. The price was okay. It really was. It was Santana plus, because Colorado was another team that was interested in Santana. It would have been Santana and then like a 35 or 40 grade second player. I could have done it, but I thought Bailey, while he is the lesser catcher, he's such a better bat that I just feel like that I'll trade in the 10 catching, right? I mean, this is not very fair to Romo, but let's do the hitting comparison. They are even in contact, but then Bailey gets a 20 gap edge, a 20 home run edge, and when you're talking 45 to 25, I mean, that is colossal. Drew Romo's hitting like 3 homers a year max, right? Not even. He hasn't reached 3, and he plays in Colorado. So yeah, he's a 2 homer guy. And Bailey can at least, with 45 power, hit like 8 to 10. And then a 10 I edge for Bailey. But hey, 10 avoid K edge for Romo. So look at him. Romo is a better base runner, and like I said, has the 10 defense, which is a big deal. 70 to 60, that's a big deal. But I don't care. I thought Bailey was the better pickup. Didn't cost us too much. We'll keep tabs on Santana. I think he's on... he's on our top prospects short list. Have I done, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now. I keep talking about it. But let's do former top prospects. So that way we can trade, when we trade somebody, it doesn't really matter which one they're on. I understand that. But, I want to have it organized. So let's go former top prospects. Take them off the top. Okay, so that's how we address the catcher situation. When Dingler comes back, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll see what's going on. I imagine Bailey's got to be out of options. No, he's got all 3 options left. Oh, okay. Oh, he has not played that much in the majors. He didn't debut until 2025. Holy crap. Okay, so he's been stunted. How dare they? It's been Miami the whole time, so San Francisco traded him quickly. All right, sorry. So let's see what else is on my list. Oh, we made a claim in addition to our trade here. We claimed a pitcher, Alex Scherf. And look, he just looked really good. 65, 70, 40. Obviously the 40 control with 35 stamina. That's going to yield some volatility. And he's a side armor. So is he a little bit like Jairo Vasquez? Yes. But I don't believe that his split is as severe. So Vasquez, you remember, another guy that we claimed, and, he had some good ratings, particularly against righties, 70, 70, 45, but then dropped down to 55, 55, 40 against lefties. That's just a huge split. He's in Double-A. Wow. Minnesota sent him all the way back to Double-A, where he's dominating, but actually in a good mood about it, too. Wow. I feel like if we had done that, he'd have been livid. He does have 2 World Series. Who else did he win a World Series with? I'm curious. Oh, he won back-to-back years. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. So he won with Baltimore. We yoinked him in the Rule 5, and then he won with us. So hey, if Minnesota wins this year and he gets up, he could start a little Will Smith thing. Anyway, back to Scherf. We claimed him from Houston, and he doesn't have a huge split. He loses 5 down the line against lefties from 70, 75, 45 to 65, 70, 40. I can live with that. So we claimed him. He's having a wretched season in 10 2/3. It's one of those things that you totally understand why a team waives him, because whatever's going on there, it's just not working. And then you can totally understand why several teams might want to claim him. And frankly, we should have been beaten on this claim, because obviously I haven't even mentioned it yet, but we are still in first. I know I'm 25 minutes in. I didn't even mention where we're at. We are still in first. We're tied. We've just been kind of locked with Minnesota right now, and so we are tied coming out of the break. But anyway, how do no other teams claim this guy? That's what I don't get. In fact, I think some of the mid-tier teams, let's go back to the standings here, could have stood to claim him and maybe tried to start him, right? I mean, if you're thinking about it logically, why wouldn't some of these fringier wildcard clubs be like, hey, we need pitching, let's try to get this guy. So we'll take it, but we should have been beaten out by other teams on this claim. So we got Alex Scherf. We did have to move somebody. And so what we did was we sent down Nate Clough. I considered another move I'll get to in a moment, but Nate Clough, he wasn't doing anything. 77 WRC plus, kind of an infield fill-in for us. He did have 143 plate appearances because of injuries, because Brooks Lee had been hurt for a little bit too. That's another injury I forgot to mention. But either way, sent him down, and now we're just going 13-13 because I considered DFAing DaCosta, Franklin DaCosta. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't do it. Because if you look at him, he's straight 55s down the line with 40 stamina. He does have a 3.03 ERA, but a 140 whip and just a 3% strikeout minus walk, which is horrendous. And so that ERA is built on lies. Let's just be honest about it. He put up a 169 ERA in April, despite a 131 whip. He needed a 172 BABIP for that. He had a negative strikeout to walk ratio that month. And then he put up a 174 ERA in May with a 165 whip. The strikeout minus walk got up to 9%, and the BABIP actually skyrocketed to 360 with a 1.7 homer 9 too. So how the hell did he do so well? That's just pure luck at that point. That's all there is to it. And then the last 2 months, he's been in the mid to upper fours with his ERA, which is more fitting for the whip that he has. Although I will say in July, only 3 outings, 106 whip, but still a negative strikeout to walk. So anyway, things are a bit of a mess with DaCosta, but he's out of options. There was a few trades out there that I was moderately interested in, but I realized I was like, I don't want to overreact here. He's better than this. We got to give him some time to iron it out. And if we got to go 13-13 for a little bit to do that, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I don't believe he's a true 3% strikeout minus walk. And based on the interest when I shopped him, I think teams would have claimed him. So I couldn't do it. And we're just going to hold him right now and go with the 13 pitchers. So that means, let's see. I guess that means Baez is backing up second base. And then O'Neill Cruz is backing up first and third. So nothing changed too much. It's not like Clough was a big piece of the team right now. Maybe Baez gets in a little bit more against lefties. Good for him. What are his stats right now? Nothing. Hang on. 9 plate appearances. He's 1 for 9 so far. Cool. All right, so we're caught up. Let's get into it here. Let's see how the rest of July unfolds and if we want to make any other moves. Let's go look at the team. And again, I've talked about these team position rankings. They're not the greatest thing. I would not use them too stridently. But let's do an overview here just to see if they're hitting on anything that we might be able to identify as a need. Our catcher, our best one is Show, and he ranks 21st. We know catcher's an issue, but we're not going to go out and get another one. We're riding with Bailey and Show. Torque will be back soon, so we're good there. Brooks Lee, I think, is better than the 16th best, although he's not having a crazy season, but we're good with him. We're not trying to upgrade that. O'Neill Cruz is 20th at third base, and he's down to a 74 WRC plus. That's a little alarming, but we kind of knew that was in the cards, right? We kind of got the best out of him last year. He's going to be a volatile guy. 40 avoid K will do that, because his strikeout rate has spiked back up to 27% and with just an 8% walk rate. And his BABIP is down almost 40 points, almost 50 points, because that's also going to be a huge hit to his offense. Adames is 13. So Adames, Carter, Mendoza, Green are all top 15. No upgrades necessary there. And then our pitching, our rankings aren't great, but I don't give a shit. I'm looking at our stats. They're excellent. We're golden. So maybe third base. Maybe. I like Cruz, the deal we signed him to. If he's a backup, There is nothing wrong with that. He is so dirt cheap that I can't even really be mad about the performance we're getting. Because, I mean, that's why we signed him so inexpensively, because we know that he has a lot of volatility with his profile. So is there anything out there at third base? First off, let's check the trade block and get rid of the catcher filter. And we'll go third base, sorted by WAR. We got David VR with 2 WAR. So a quick glance says there's nothing that's markedly different than Cruz. There might be some slightly different shapes, but nothing stands out, because even if we just do overall, we got a couple 55s. Although, I wonder if the Crawford build might be a better fit. Now we're going to give up all that power, but we're going to get some defense and a much, much, much better plate profile. 65 I, 60 avoid K. They're both lefties, so so we wouldn't have an obvious platoon, which actually leads me back to VR. He's a bit better against lefties, but not enough. What about Paredes? He gets 5 gap, 5 homer, and that's it. But he might be an interesting fit. Okay, Rendon. Do you have any ratings left? Oh, wow. He's markedly better against lefties. He's old, but he's down to 2.4 mil. We did just do a trade with Miami. I'm not necessarily against going right back to the well. I think it's, a little doofy. I mean, teams will make trades multiple times in a year, but probably more than like a day apart. Let's see what the cost is. All right, it's kind of literally nothing. There's a billion guys, plenty of them are 20s and 25s. So we could go for that. Now the question is, who goes away? And actually, no, I'm a dumbass. We need to either find somebody who's going to be a full-time starter or stick with what we got, because we have a Relvis batting against lefties. And he has a 168 WRC plus. It's a small sample of 75 plate appearances, but he has 17 homers on the year. 6 against lefties, 11 against righties. Like, he's fine for our platoon side third baseman. So maybe that Rendon upgrade isn't there. Sorry, I just want to see if there's anybody else whose scouting accuracy has dipped. I've been having to do a lot of scouting in July. A lot of guys dipping down to the high or even average scouting accuracy. And I don't really know why. Maybe it just happens as the season wears on and I'm just noticing it a little bit more. All right, so it doesn't look like the trade block has a ton to offer. Like, there's some decent guys, but they don't really move the needle. Because if we, I feel if we don't find a full-time starter, it's not really worth it. Like, Thairo Estrada could probably hit both ways, but he could be trained up at third. Thairo's kind of interesting. Kind of. But again, I just don't know that it moves the needle enough from the platoon that we are running. Because now, it's actually Arias who technically platoons with Cruz. But the reason it's actually a Relvis is because Relvis is not in the starting lineup against righties and Arias is. It's just that against lefties, Arias moves to third and Relvis moves in as the first baseman. And then, actually, we're going to have an interesting choice when Torque returns. And I have to think about that too. Because then Arias can play more consistent third base. He might just become the starter. Okay, I think we're going to hold off. I got to be honest, and I'm sorry. I know exciting trade deadlines are a lot of fun, but I think we might be having a little bit of a slow one again. I want to do cool, engaging moves, but I don't want to force it and possibly hurt the team just for the sake of doing trades. And I'm sure y'all, would co-sign that. As fun as it is to get into trade negotiations, make some moves, and then analyze them, I don't think we want to do it just to do it. So, All right, let's get into the month here then, or the rest of the month, I should say. Coming out of the All-Star break, we're taking a trip to Texas and then stopping over in Chicago before we come home for Arizona and Houston. By the way, that's a 4-gamer against the White Sox, who are 35 and 56. All right, let's get it going here against Texas. They are 43 and 46. Weren't they good last year? No, they were not. I'm confusing them with somebody else. All right, let's get it going then. Let's check the rotation. It is Scooble coming out. Everyone's rested, so we'll go. Actually, you know what? We're gonna move Enriquez up to the 3rd starter. Every spot you move them up is a chance for them to get more innings based on always starting the highest rested. So when you have off days, it'll skip that 4th or 5th guy and move back up. So it's definitely worth moving a guy up if you want him to get some more innings. Enriquez, man, he's been so good. I was gonna say, do we want to do something else? But don't fix what ain't broken. We got him on the 22 batters faced. This works. Let's keep it going. All right, here we go. So they're gonna get Scooble, Stone, Enriquez, and we're gonna get. I bet they already emailed us. We're gonna get Luis Severino, Kumar Rocker, and Owen White. Okay, I'm starting to see why maybe they're not doing so well. All right, game 1 coming out of the break. We get a win, 9, 8, and 10. Holy shit, look at this roller coaster. One thing I wish is that if you didn't do the game recaps, that this would stretch out. The win probability graph would stretch out across the whole area there. I mean, for this one, it's fine. But, like, if you get an extra innings game, it squinches it all up there and it looks like shit. If you go, like, 12 plus. I guess this is an extra innings game. What I should say is, like, 12 plus innings. How about that? Since I already basically said it. Anyway, 9-8. And look at this. The newcomer, Patrick Bailey, with a run-scoring single in the 8th. What did that do for us? So they go up 1-0 early. Then we make it 2-1. Then we make it 5-1. They make it 5-2 in the bottom of the 6th. But then in the bottom of the 7th, they make it 7-5. So now we're down. And Bailey's single did come in clutch. I would imagine that was the game-tying single because we scored 2 in the 8th. So then we're tied. We get 2 in the 10th. They get 1 back. So they put up a scare in the bottom of the 10th there, but we held on. Scooble was great, but Vargas got smoked. We smoked Severino. Perez gave up a run, and then Scherf gave up an unearned run, which was probably the ghost runner that scored there in the 10th. Wait. This is the sim that we're doing ghost runners, I think. Which I just left it on by accident, and I've decided to leave it. Because I don't care that much. Like, I don't like it much in real life, but it's not a big deal. And I think I explain that all the time, though, so I'm not going to give my same little spiel. Oh, the draft. I'll do that in a moment. But we did get Charlie Soto here, and I think he's ready for something higher than rookie ball. He was a 3rd-round pick for us, and we're going to put him at AA. Bang. Okay, so let's finish off the Texas series, then I'll go over just our first, 3 picks, and then I'll do a deeper dive later when I do a farm report. Maybe that'll be next episode. It'll be kind of in between this July episode and the stretch run. We'll do an on the farm type of deal. All right, game 2 at Texas. Little Saturday afternoon tilt. And we lose 10-2. Oof. We got smoked. They scored early and often with 4 in the first, and they just kept going. Arias did hit his 6th, but Frenchie Cordero came up, hit a homer for him. Franchi Cordero, I think I said Frenchie. And then Zion Bannister. Kumar Rocker was great. Gavin Stone was smashed. Coar and DaCosta got hit up a little bit too. Coar, by the way, he could have had an argument for All-Star snub. If you look at, where he was at, I think you can make a case. Because before this outing, he had a 1.84 ERA. And everything isn't just ERA. I know that. But, a solid 15% strikeout minus walk, a 108 whip. Actually, the whip was probably lower before then, too. I'm not going to do all the math on it. Excuse me. But, yeah. I think that's... He could have been somebody. But if they had to get, say, the only guy from another team, all they had was a reliever. It's, let's just say reliever snubs for the All-Star game probably make the most sense out of any position, especially when you have the one per team minimum. Nelson Perdomo, who's this? International free agent signing. I vaguely remember the name. Oh, did anything happen on the scouting? Oh, his potential contact dropped. Cool. All right, rubber match in Texas. Give me a dub here. Let's go. Start off the second half right. We got a save coming in. I'll take a drink. Good time to take a drink. By the way, we got Shar, as you've no doubt already noticed, here against her will. No, she didn't really try to break out this time. She was cool with it. No, it wasn't. He's wine. Oh, anyway, we lose 5-1, so that sucks. So we dropped the series in Texas. Enriquez was fine, but then Vargas smoked again, and Perez gives up a run. We had a handful of doubles, but Zion Bannister ripped 2 more homers, and Marcus Semien got one as well. Zion Bannister, kick-ass name, by the way. He's a stud. He blasted 18 homers last year in 500 plate appearances as a rookie. Didn't he get Rookie of the Year? He did. That's why I'd recognize the name. 70 power, 60 eye. He's a bit fragile, so, we're looking at maybe the next Giancarlo Stanton type deal. But he's a power stud who could really tap into quite a bit of power for them. All right, so we dropped that series. That sucks. Let's see what these 2 emails are. Colton Hartman did something in AAA. Cool. Oh, he's been killing it. He could be our next guy up. He's got 60 home runs, 60 I. Problem is he's an outfielder, and we just don't have a lot of opening there. Clark Elliott came up when Riley Green got hurt and did so well that I just kept him up. I figure reward that, see where it goes. He's got a 14% walk rate, which is awesome. He had 16% in the minors. So I'm like, let's just ride this out. All right, so the draft. The draft was fine. I'm not overly jazzed about how we did. Not to, no sell it immediately. But let's see. We got Powell Nelligan from Canada with our first pick. 21-year-old who's actually going to start at A-ball immediately, which is nice for a first rounder. Actually, he could maybe go higher. No, he kind of drops off. Let's not overdo it. But we'll start him in A-ball. So here's what he looks like. He's got 35s down the line except for a 50 gap currently, with a chance to be a 60 contact, 80 gap, 60 home run, 40 I, 55 avoid K. He's got an actually pretty wretched speed profile where he has a 70 speed, which is the frequency with which he's going to steal, but then a 40 stealing success and a 25 base running, which means he thinks he's faster than he is. Like, he thinks he's a better base runner than he actually is. I'm actually going to tone down those stealing situations. And never bunt. You're very bad at it. And don't even hit and run. But anyway, he does have 70 range in the outfield. So the 70 range, with him being 21 and kind of developed. Okay, actually, let's just cut to the chase. He's another Mendoza. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, shouts to y'all. It was a comment that made me end up going for Mendoza when I had looked at him and I was like, oh, we don't really need the outfield. We'll probably let him go. And then it's like, no. A comment had mentioned he's a 70 range outfielder. What are you doing? Basically, like, they said it much nicer than that, but it was basically like, what are you doing? You got to go for that guy when he's out there for free, and a great speed profile for Mendoza. So Powell here, Nelligan, is kind of a unrefined version of Mendoza, is probably the best way to say it. He has higher potential on his contact, 60 potential to Mendoza's 45, 80 gap versus 70, plus 5 on the home run with his 60 versus 55. But then he loses 15 I, 55 to 40, gains 5 avoid K, 55 to 50. I don't know if the contact gap and home run edges are enough to counterbalance the 15 I potential, because the problem is Nelligan's going to be so BABIP reliant. But there's upside. Again, the speed profile is dreadful. I do hate that. But then defensively, they're both 70 range. And then Nelligan actually has 10 better arm at 55. And they both have 55 error. So that's the easiest comp, is that it's a right-handed version of Mendoza with a little trade-off there. But he's young. He's still just 21. He should advance relatively quickly. And Mendoza's 28 at this point, right? We've still got him for 2 more years after this, the last one being a player option at 9 mil. So that could be kind of the perfect handoff if Nelligan's ready to give him the outfield position, center field. So he was our number 1 pick. And then we took Robbie Mills with our 2nd pick, who's got a great profile, personality profile, I should say, leader, adaptability, work ethic, 55 I, 65 avoid K, 80 gap, so another gap god. And we know how these computer created draft classes always bring crazy gap power. But hey, that's fine by me. We have a park that can leverage it, especially for left-handers, which he is not, but still, he can go oppo into the triples alley there. Better speed profile, but still not what you want. You don't want the speed to be higher than the stealing, because that means they're going to run a ton without being very successful at it. So I don't love that, but everything else is pretty good. 60 range makes him capable for short, second, or third. 55 or 50 arm does make third a little bit of a lesser possibility. So I would probably rank them in order of interest as second, short, third. So that's Robbie Mills, our 2nd pick, 65th overall. Then we got Charlie Soto, who you saw earlier. He's another guy who's kind of well developed. He's 50, 50, 45 already. We put him right into AA. Frankly, he probably could go to AAA, but we'll leave him in AA right now. He already threw a start, did really well in 5 2/3. Did suffer an oblique strain, but it's a minimal situation. He'll be healthy in a day. All good. So that's 95th pick overall. So I'm just going to go over those 3 top 100 guys right now. We'll go deeper into it when we do the farm report, and we'll get in on everything that's going on. Quick snapshot there. You see that we still have 3 in the top 100, but we'll cover it deeper later. All right, so let's keep an eye here on the clock. I don't want to go too crazy. Let's go with this Chicago series and then kind of assess where we're at there and see if we're going to make a deal. But I'm leaning no. I'm leaning no on the trade. We're 3 days away from getting Torque back. We'll put him on a rehab, and we'll probably look to get him back right here against Miami on July 30th. So if he comes back here on the 21st or 22nd, he'll get just about a week on rehab, and that's fine. I can live with that. All right. Should I already put him down there? Can you? Okay, you can't. As I say, can you put him on rehab before before the injury time's officially done? It wouldn't make sense that you could. It was kind of a stupid question that I should have left in the old noggin here, but hey, sometimes they pop out. All right, we got 4 against the White Sox in Chicago. They've got 3 lefties in the rotation, but it looks like we're going to get 2 righties and 2 lefties. So that's fine. Who do we do better against? I don't even know. We have a 590 win percentage against lefties, 13-9, and a 563 against righties, 40-31. The verse lefty is too small of a sample to put a bunch of weight into it. The bottom line is, I think righty lefty, it doesn't really matter for us. All right, here we go. 4 games at Chicago. Game 1 is a 9-5 win. Game 2 is a 4-3 loss. Game 3, come on, get this one. Give us a chance to go 3-1. Nope, we take the loss. Torkelson is back. Let's put him on rehab. We lose 3-2 in 10, so now we're looking for the split here, and then we'll go over all 4 boxes. Give me the split. Can't lose 2 series. We do get it 10-9 in 10. So 3 really close games. 3 one-run games after the 9-5 win to open it. That was Aaron Ashby with 5 scoreless. Abner Uribe brought him right back into it with 4 runs in a third of an inning. Way to go, doofus. But we protected him. A lot of hitting for us. We had 11 hits. Green staying hot. Deuce is wild for him. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 ribs. Had a triple. Brooks Lee went yard. Willie Adames did as well. Teodo got the save with 2 2/3. 1 run. All right, cool. But then we lose 4-3 And that was Jackson Jobe giving up all 4 and 5 2/3. Not a terrible outing, but we just couldn't get back into it. Who's C Shores? Chase Shores has struggled in the majors. 10.22 ERA. Looks like he lowered his ERA in this one though, with 5 1/3 of 3-run ball. Let's see what the other stuff looks like. It's got to be pretty comically bad. All right, so his debut was 4 innings, 6 runs, and then 3 innings, 5 runs at Cleveland. So he's toured the division. He went to KC, to Cleveland, and then home against us, and he did the best against us. Great. The funniest thing about this is he has 2 wins. How the hell did he get a win? This must not have been a start. Correct. Okay. So in the game where he went 3 innings and gave up 5, he was filling in for Jimmy Lambert, who only threw an inning and a third, so he still got the win. That's amazing. He's 2-1 with a 10.22 ERA. Awesome. All right, then we lose 3-2 in 10. Carter and Show went yard for us. Scooble was excellent. The bullpen was sharp. Erod, our old friend, did very well. Hats off to him. Nice little low 4s ERA. Too high of a whip, kind of a 1.5 whip guy. But he's 34 now, so that's kind of a normal trajectory. That wouldn't terribly surprise me if it happened. It also wouldn't surprise me if he stayed good into his 30s, because I think Erod's really good. But he's had whip issues before, so if those kind of came back, it wouldn't be off the charts like, holy crap. We have 47 emails. I think these are all scouting. Obviously not going through them. This is low minors scouting just to kind of catch up on everything. So we can just mark those all red. And just eyeballing if anybody might have gone up in the potential here to give us any more green players. But I think these are all, in addition to the recent draftees, I think these are all the normal guys. So that's cool. All right, let's go to this Arizona series. We're coming home. Let's take a look at the standings real quick. We're now a game and a half back. And that's fine. You know, we're battling here. It's gonna be another 2-month big time stretch run like we've had, kind of throughout this series here. Man, the Guardians are wasting this Jonathan Ornelas guy. He's such a stud, and they're just 41 and 55, garbage. All right, so 1.5 back, not too worried. Arizona coming to visit. They are 50 and 47. They're 8 back of the Dodgers, but a pretty solid team. And I believe they had a good year last year. They did. They've made the playoffs every year of this sim. So they're just a good team. The Baby Snakes are rising. All right, so did we get the email for that series? We did. So they're going to have Lance McCullers Jr., Gavin Collier, and Mackenzie Gore going up against us. And we got Enriquez, Ashby, and Jobe. I think we got a pretty big pitching edge here. But they have the Hispanic Titanic, Ivan Melendez, hook 'em horns. I've raved a few different times about how much of a stud he is in our sim. I love it. Maybe he could take 3 games off. But if he cooks us, I'm not going to be that surprised. He's really good. All right, let's get this first game going. Give me a dub. Doing a little hat switch. Oh, no, an 8-2 loss? Come on. I'm not switching hats because we're losing. I'm switching hats because I wanted to. All right, 8-2 loss. That sucks. Game 2. Come on. I got to see. Was that Scooble who got smoked? Oh, we win 13-3 the next game. All right, so we got a road match coming up. Oh, it was Enriquez. He didn't get smoked, but 3 runs in 5 innings. That's kind of smoked for him. Vargas does get smoked again, and I'm starting to look at him askance here. I think that, did I use that phrase properly? Look askance at? I think I did. With an attitude or look of suspicion or disapproval. I think that's right. Anyway, he's pissing me off is what I'm trying to say. 5.19 ERA, but then I look at a 1.11 whip and a 16% strikeout minus walk, and I'm like, calm down. You know what's really funny? And when I say funny, I mean rage-inducing. You know, those are interchangeable. Is a 1.5 homer 9 for an 80 movement guy. I love that. That's so cool. And not at all annoying. That's really, really frustrating. He's an extreme ground baller. He's just giving up bombs. 2 bombs last game. 1 in that Texas series. He hadn't given up 1 for a little while. That's the thing, too, with relievers, though. You give up 3 in like a 3 1/3 inning span. I mean, that's really going to raise your rate quite a bit. So I don't think we can really do anything about this. 60% left on base rate, 1.5 homer 9. Like, these things should regress. I think the skills are still there. He's having a rough run right now. I think we stick with our guy. We can take him out of the use more often. Just let him, maybe not get called upon as much as he kind of figures this out. But other than that, I don't really see anything that we have to do. You know what? I'm going to put Scherf in that role. I really want to see what he can do for us. He's coming in, and he's already got 6 innings of a 1.50 ERA for us. We'll take that. 21% strikeout minus walk. Tiny sample, but strong start so far. All right, a bunch more of the scouting reports. All good. All right, game 3. Oh, wait, 13-3 victory here. Who went off? Riley Green hit a triple. A homer. Did he get a double? He did, so he got a cycle. How's that not mentioned? That's not a special note? That's a cycle. 4 hits, 1 double, 1 triple, 1 homer. That leaves 1 hit. Had to be the single. Dang, why don't they... Oh, no, it's right here. It's literally right here. Oh, my God. It's literally right there. Wait a minute. I thought I had these turned off. Does it only do it if there's like a really big story? Because this one doesn't have anything. Neither, none of these other ones we looked at. I mean, I guess it's cool that they did since it is for a historic event. But I didn't know that you could do it for like only cool things. Generate recaps. None. Again, I'm not mad. It's just kind of weird that it just randomly decided that when there was a historical achievement that they did it. Okay, cool. Anyway, Ashby pitched well. Scherf, strong 3 innings. And we beat up on Collier and Keller. And Riley Green's a stud. All right, give me the series here, and then we get a day off. And then I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We'll do the Houston series, and then we'll cut it there because that's when we're going to bring Torque back up. And again, I know I keep reiterating it. I don't really see a lot of moves. Obviously, the one thing that would facilitate a big move would unfortunately be a negative, which would be an injury cropping up. I did not know that was coming, y'all. I did not know. That is insane. That is very OOTP, like listening to me and immediately paying off. Well, not paying off, but, burning me. The millisecond I'm saying that, Clark Elliott gets a strained PCL out 5 to 6 weeks. Now, this isn't going to facilitate a big trade because he's a backup. And I think we're just going to bring up a minor leaguer. But that is pretty crazy how I'm like, only an injury would really change our outlook here. And an injury popped up immediately. All right, well, that sucks for Elliott. Because like I said, he'd come up and he was really, really a surprise standout. He was riding a 402 BABIP. But he also had a 23% K rate and 13% walk rate. That's a really good plate profile. So it's not like the luck was just happening to him, and a bunch of dink doink base hits. He was hitting. He had a good idea of what the plate was, and things were going well. But now he's going to be out until early September, which sucks. All right, I think it's going to be. I mentioned. Hartman being the next man up. And I think that's going to be the case. We have 26 players here at AAA. We need to cut some of this. We need to trim this down here. All right, so actually, should we just call Torque back up? Because, yeah, who's going to go down for Torque? Oh, man, this is actually getting a little tough. because I think we're going to have to make a move and go back to 14-12 to get a backup outfielder up. But which pitcher goes down or gets traded? Because the problem is, and this is like one of the downsides of building your rotation, or your bullpen rather, off of the waiver wire or the Rule 5, is that you don't have a lot of flexibility, right? Because most of our relievers here are out of options, and we're not going to leave them open to getting claimed. So of our 8, 5 are out of options. Uribe, Teodo, and Perez have options. Teodo and Perez aren't going anywhere. I think it is going to be Uribe. And we know with the 30 control that's just the kind of volatility that he has. And 18% walk rate. Like 12% isn't even good, but for a guy like this, he can do enough around a 12% to make it work. 18% is too hard. You're just asking too much of your BABIP, of your strikeout rate, of just good luck. Like, it's just not going to work. In fact, his BABIP is actually way down from last year, from 328 to 295. But the 6% spike in walk rate and the doubling of his home run rate are a problem. So, okay, I think this makes it easy. We send out Uribe. And then we go back to AAA. And I think Colton Harton's getting the call. He's got a great personality. He's a captain. 60 60 home run. What's not to like? He's more of a DH type, but he's going to be backup anyway. Wait, do we have a backup center fielder, though? Shit. That might not be the move. All right. I think this is going to take a lot that I don't want to just sit here and do on a video, because it's kind of boring to kind of go through all the machinations of everything. So here's what we're going to set out to do. We got to call Torque back up. Actually, we can do that immediately. How many games did he? He got 4 games. He's fine. It's time. We need you. So we'll call Torque back up. So now we're at 13-12. Then, oh man, we need to call an outfielder up who can actually play center. Like, Hartman's been great, but he can't play center. Kirill has not done well. I mean, he's a dreadful bat, so. Parker Meadows has not done anything in AAA, probably just moping down there. Which, I mean, it is a bummer to get sent out when you're 27 and you had kind of established yourself in the majors. So maybe we just call him back up to be a backup right now, because maybe that's the best move. Jeremy De La Rosa is a 55 range. He could play center, and he's a better bat than Meadows, and he's also on the 40. So it's gonna be a choice between them. Okay, so we're gonna need to figure out this outfield situation. Why am I complicating this? Isn't that all we really need to do? We just need to call up somebody who can actually play center, because I think Green and even Carter could, but you don't want your backup center fielder to be a starter, because then what happens, when he's tired? Like, we only have 3 true outfielders on the roster right now. Maybe Torque gets back into the outfield a bit, though, too. Maybe that's part of the answer. But would that solve it? I don't know. Because, again, if we call up Hartman, he is really a DH, not even a corner. Okay. I still think it's a good time to cut it anyway while I figure this out, but it's not as complicated as I thought, because Torque can come back up. He can actually help the outfield depth a little bit. Arias isn't trained yet, but he has outfield upside as well. We do need somebody who can truly cover center, which I think we're just going to get from within. And then I will obviously sim the Houston series and the first game of the Miami series. And if no major injuries happen there, I don't think we're making any moves. So I hope I start the next episode with, hey, we're at the deadline and we're not making any moves, because that would mean that no major injury happened. But let's go with that. We're a half game back right now. We're in a good spot. We're getting our best hitter back. I think we're good to go. We'll check in on episode 35. if we do a trade or whatever, I'll get into that. But then we'll do August and September, the way we've done the stretch runs recently, where we kind of go series by series. Oops, sorry, making noise. We go series by series and kind of dig in with everything. Actually, you know what? If we don't do a trade, then I'm going to pick it up into August a little bit, because that can take a little bit, especially with the sim being slow. So maybe we would start like going into this Yankees weekend series in August, maybe something like that. So I'm only telling you that just because I originally said I'm going to pick it up right here on the 30th, and that might not be the case. So I want to leave myself an opening for that. But thank you all so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Talk to y'all later. Peace.